It's good to have you and welcome along to The Point, where we analyze economic policies. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko, and today our discussion, to tell you a little bit about it, is talking about renewable energy resources, but mainly talking alternative energy resources that anyone can easily use as an individual or business person out there in case of any power shortages or any power outage anywhere. Well, when you look at countries like South Africa have been suffering since last year in regards to the load shedding that has hit the nation, and it has been affecting quite a number of retail businesses. Even up today, people in South Africa are still crying foul to the government to ensure that they come on board and help them with the issue to do with the load shedding or shortage of power. They definitely have different countrywide shortages of power as well as countrywide and access in Uganda, trying to analyze the economic utilization of energy for sustainable development as well. But not only that, we want to understand how can we enhance livelihoods and also increase the resilience and competitiveness of businesses in Uganda by using the same. And obviously, you're watching Smart24 television, where we drive your business. We are on channel 394, that is Go TV, and then DSTV is channel 372 for those who want to get us via mainstream media. Not only that, you can also get us on free-to-air decoders. But besides that, the website and the YouTube channels are also actively running. You can as well get us from there. Now, speaking of our topic of discussion today, joining me to discuss this and more, I do have Angela Chichoncho. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Please say hello to our viewers as we kickstart off our discussion.
Okay, thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you for watching Smart24 TV.
Okay.
And I'm happy to be hosted here.
Okay.
And I hope my people out there will have very, very wonderful lessons and from our discussion.
All right.
Yep.
And of course, Angela is an expert from the Inclusive Markets for Energy Efficiency in Uganda, and she's definitely the right person if we are to discuss more about this. Now, if I am to definitely kickstart off our conversation here in regards to alternative, I would prefer using the word alternatives here in regards to energy or renewable energy sources. A case in point, for example, let's say solar energy. How can we, how is the accessibility of solar energy in this country?
Okay, thank you so much. When we talk about the accessibility of solar, we basically now look at starting from the local income person.
Yes.
And most times you find it's always hard from the start of. At first, it was really a wrong way to go. When you talk about solar, someone would think about something that is really big. It's for someone who is a rich person and all that. But we've really got very many sponsors, and you find that at least now where we are, people are able to, when you talk about solar, at least it comes into someone's mind that, it's about a panel. Actually, that's how it is. But how they now access is we have very many companies in Uganda that are basically dealing in solar.
Okay.
And most of them, of course, they have they are registered under the association. So these companies, the private sector companies that are registered under USAIA, they have really done a great job in doing the awareness and to make people access the solar systems. We talk about people going to, we now have companies that are basically dealing in home systems, the plug and play. So it's easy, they have a marketing team where they go on ground from someone who is deep in the village, and they are doing that sales and marketing. They reach up to the last person and they talk about solar. They sell these small lanterns, if you have seen them, I don't know, but they also now people get access to the solar. Then also now most people now in the market, in the day-to-day market, you find at least every maybe a stall, let's say, there's someone selling solar. So it becomes easier for people now to get access to having the solar systems, irrespective of the size. Because at the end of the day, we are looking at everyone having at least a clean energy in their home, irrespective. Let's say if it's a lantern, someone can afford a lantern. So it's either they can get from the distributors that are selling one-to-one, and also some can visit the shops, and also now others are getting them through online shops. We have now online shops basically that are selling solar products. And some, lastly, they get to know through the social media platforms. Like right now, what we are doing, someone who's watching me, tomorrow we need more details about solar. So I would really basically say that solar is now accessible everywhere.
Okay.
So, and I would encourage the viewers to, at least everyone, to try as much as possible to access solar in any way. You can either do, but I would recommend that they should always go to the registered companies, because at the end of the day we are looking at efficiency and after sales service. Because if you buy a solar from anyone who is not an expert, that's the main point, is at the end of the day, if a solar gets an issue, is how am I going to rectify that problem? So I would encourage everyone, as you look at accessing a solar system, look at the person selling it to you. At the same time, go to a company that is fully registered and they're experts in dealing in solar. So then the accessibility is easy. We're going to check on online shops. If you go to the website now, even if you just Google, you're able to easily get a solar. Then also the consultancy and also the adverts, the government has also put some policies on doing awareness to the public. Like we have now like radio stations that are promoting the same, and it's now easy for everyone to access solar.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you look at let's talk about the utilization, the current state of utilization. Do you think solar utilization is more common in the cities or more used in up country? Because when you talk about the access, the mere fact that now it is accessible, not like it was a few years ago, where it was very difficult to access some of these alternatives, or they were even more expensive at the time. But when the markets get wide, it becomes easier. When you look at it, in your observation, do you think it has become easier to get solar within the city, or does it have more market up country?
Actually, it's a very interesting question, but the fact of the matter is, of course, we have places that are completely off-grid.
Okay.
And when I talk of off-grid, I'm talking to a village where there's no power source. So you find most of the times, as I've said, most of the solar companies have played a big role towards making sure that people up country, the places that are off-grid, they're able to access solar. So most times, but at the same time now, it's like at 45% still now in the urban areas, they use more solar than even the villages. And there are very many factors as to why people in the villages are not using solar. First of all, is lack of awareness, as I have said.
Okay.
So that's in the city, you find, for example, when you talk about factories right now, factories in urban centers, most of them, they have solar backup systems, the PV systems, whereby if, for example, power has gone, someone doesn't need to lose a lot of money from his business because solar has gone off. So the utilization in the urban centers is still high compared to the villages. And I would really recommend that through our programs like this one, would still empower and make sure that at least even people in the villages, they access, they're in need, but still there's just lack of awareness, which we are going to do and which we are trying to do. And with the help of the government and NGOs, we hope even all the off-grid areas would be on solar. Because right now solar is accessible. We have small lanterns, whereby each one right now it can be at 20,000 Uganda shilling. So we are trying as much as possible to ensure that we give in what we can for everyone to at least access clean energy. And you realize when we talk about now how people are accessing it, as I've said, there are very many local shops in the villages that are selling.
And now let's dive into the issue to do with how the government comes in here. Do you think as Uganda, as we're trying to pick up with solar, I want to believe these are alternative sources. You look at solar, you look at wind, the mere fact that the government is greatly, let's say, regulating the hydroelectric power as a sector itself in there, the Ministry of Energy and everything. Has there been quite the same energy when it comes to, or the same kind of engagement as the government put in more efforts as well when it comes to utilizing solar?
Yeah. I think I would wish to take this opportunity to thank the government of Uganda, because it's however much we are not yet there as expected, but the government has also tried to come in. If we talk about now, we used to have these the taxes that were imposed on shipping a solar system, let's say panels, batteries, it was really high. But these days, however much it is still there, but it's not compared to those other days. There was some regulation that have tried to weave that kind of high taxes being charged, and that one we basically, of course, thank the government. However, there's still a long way to go, because we would wish to have 100% solar equipment having no tax charges. This will help even more other companies to engage in business, and at the same time it will lower the prices for everyone to access. At the same time, the government has given some grants that are basically for supporting solar projects. I may talk about, we have like schools that are now getting like solar systems by the support of the government funds. We talk about the health centers. The government has tried to at least provide some facilities with solar systems. We talk about those ones that are completely off-grid. At least when you go now in a health center, you'll find a panel up. So the government has really played some role to some extent to ensure that at least solar is being promoted. And also when we talk about now the awareness campaigns, we talk about the social media platforms that are given freely. Like right now, we are still doing the same, promoting. If the government wasn't really engaging us to do the same, it wouldn't be here. But I'm proudly sure that by the next maybe 2020-30, would be somewhere with the support of the government. And lastly, we talk about, we have now NGOs that are really supporting in promoting the clean energy. We have the GIZ, we have UNCDF, we have the government has even now gone ahead to collaborate with other funders. Like we have now some solar loans that are coming up, including the banks actually, where now you can easily access a solar system by getting a payment plan through a bank. So really, we are not yet there, but I can easily say that we are trying to move forward, looking for a better Uganda that is basically looking at having a clean environment.
Oh, okay. Now, when you look at saying better Uganda, how do you think Uganda can promote these energy measures? Because we want to create a sustainable, energy flow or energy use, which is more efficient. Not only efficient but effective at the same time. So if you have to look at this, before we even come into how solar will be important or can be important to the business community, how do you think we can build that sustainability when it comes to our energy resources? Okay,
thank you so much for the question. And I will start by saying, with the help of the government, the first thing we need to do is to put clear policies regarding the policies I'm talking about. Is can we try to differentiate, if there's a policy, it should be implemented that before any product like is shipped, let's say, they must be at least of a quality standard. You realize you find in the market you cannot differentiate between original and duplicate. Reason being, there are other fake products that are coming in the country and they are not being followed up. So if there are measurement, if there are policies that are really strict, that before something enters the country, they have to first at least take care of everything that is coming in, do the measurements, have serious policies that are going to limit, to differentiate between a fake product coming in our country, it would really add up some sense. Then secondly, we talk about the taxes. Everyone would wish to have solar. Even if right now we talk about, we're giving like some few calls, everyone wants to have solar, but the taxes that are really being imposed on the solar products, on the solar components, it's really high. So if the government could do as much as possible in
to decrease on these taxes,
I think it would be really a good opportunity for everyone to have access to a clean energy.
I don't know, I would wish to ask though, where do you think we normally get these solar panels? If in terms of, for example, these business people we import, I for one actually thought maybe when you look at these energy resources, like we make our own electricity, that maybe we have someone who manufactures these solar panels here, or we only have local suppliers?
Actually, at the moment, we, as a country, we are not yet at that level where we are manufacturing the solar panels, solar batteries, solar inverters, as I've said. But most of the components are shipped. We are shipping panels from China, which so most people don't want to even feel like when you're selling actually a solar system
and say this one is
from China, yes. You can't automatically say no.
Okay.
Because also when we talk about now the countries, the brand, the manufacturer, it's now another topic we would wish to talk about in detail.
Okay.
But at the moment, most of the components are being shipped.
Yeah. Of course, now I understand the business environment in there, because even if someone is overtaxed, then that means the product is going to get more high at the same time.
Yeah.
But
and
I think
now it's hard for everyone to access, because if for example, I've been taxed so high, it means I'm going to be expensive.
Okay.
And now my grandmother, who is in the village, can't
afford that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Automatically it becomes a big challenge.
And of course, this as well brings me to trying to understand, but I want to believe we have people who can at least fix these. I don't know if they are called mechanics, but I think we have people who can fix, the technicians who can fix such issues once it is not happening right? But, well, like you did mention, the government needs to come through. But the government for long has been inquiring, or has been urging the private sector players to always come through and invest heavily in such incidents. Obviously, this is a sector where the private sector now looks like they are the only one, they are the key players. And when you say government coming in, I think I'll pick up from there and say, yes, that is very right, if we are to do the most of utilizing it. When you look at the people in the villages, besides the rural electrification that is happening in the country, obviously, you did mention some of them, what is actually, becoming an issue to them is access, maybe buying these solar panels. But when you look at them, do they know how to, maintain? Because we have issues to do with maintenance in this country. I want to think, what are the maintenance levels? How can someone maintain the use of solar?
Okay.
Because even here in town, there are some people who actually buy these solar panels. They buy very small ones, though, the ones that can power their homes with only maybe power and everything. But the discussions is, when you ask some of them after a year, someone just lets it go. And I don't know, is maintaining these solar panels expensive or difficult?
Well, it's a very interesting question, but I'll start by saying solar also needs maintenance.
Okay.
But before we even talk about the maintenance, I would really suggest that can people understand what they want when you talk about solar? Because when we mention the word solar, what comes in people's mind, it's just a panel. But in real sense, it's not. So you find, before you think about buying a solar system, we are now talking about the plug and play systems, the home systems, small home systems, the kits, the lanterns, the what?
Yes.
You find people don't know what they want. I'm sorry to mention it in that way, but that's the fact. If, for example, I want a solar for my house, the first thing we need to know is the energy needs you are going to apply to your solar system. And most of the times you find people don't know that. And you find someone has bought a solar because I saw my neighbor with 10 panels up, so I also need 10 panels. Then now there's also the issue of the maintenance, as you have mentioned.
Yes.
I would encourage viewers that before you buy a solar system, one of the things you should ask that person selling it to you is, do you have a warranty? What is the after sale service? Then also, can we also go ahead and ask, it's like I always tell my clients that before you buy a solar, it's like going to a clinic or a hospital and you're asking a doctor, I'm feeling headache, I have this, and at the end of the day they will do the diagnosis and they say maybe you have this malaria or what. The same as solar. Before you think about taking 10 panels, an inverter, we have solar experts or the technicians that do the solar sizing. So what we mean by solar sizing is I need to know the exact energy needs that you need. Then we'll be able to now design a system that is able to fit in your energy needs. And this one will help us to remove the challenge of underutilizing the system or overload. You raise all the maintenance will come if I buy a system that is maybe smaller than the energy needs I have. Automatically within 6 months that system will fail. So meaning the maintenance will have no sense. So the maintenance comes as we get good points and we inquire from the experts. If you visit an expert, a solar expert, as you have said, we have technicians, we have now solar academies like Sendea, so they are training. Even now we have NGOs that are training technicians in the villages, whereby at least in every village there's a technician, what I mean is a trained technician. Not everyone is an expert in solar. So by inquiring and getting more inquiries from the technicians, it will help us to do the maintenance. Then also by buying the right products from the right companies or from the right distributors. How do you know that? I have said, before you buy, can you first ask someone, this is what I need, what are the terms and conditions? How is the maintenance? At the end of the day, solar needs to be maintained. Those panels need to be cleaned, the batteries need to be checked, you get? So it's like a day, like we always do like 3 maintenance visits, sometimes to check and see how the system is performing. Then also the user problem. Because I might get the solar, I get the right solar, I get the right system. But if I'm not told how to use it,
you have no information.
I have no information. I maybe go and switch off the inverter, and at the end of the day, I have failed myself. I have failed my system to work. So when you talk about the maintenance, we look at for people who are going to give the solar systems, kindly always do a user training to help people understand how am I going to use the solar system. And also, we talk about how am I going to maintain it? Because I can give you a solar system and I train you. Maybe after every 6 months, those panels need to be cleaned. So some small things we can always teach the person using the solar system on how to maintain them, and others we let the technicians use them. And do the maintenance.
And when we do return after the break, we shall be having discussions. I wanted us to mention something about how the business people are affected, how they will benefit as well from the use of solar if they take it up as an alternative, because some of them use generators normally when they are having power outages and everything, or in case someone wants to cut the costs. I don't know if solar is cheaper when it comes to cutting costs of, for example, because power is very expensive. The hydroelectric power does seem to be very expensive, electricity, if I'm to put it in that way. I think every business person does agree on that. But besides that, our topic of discussion does return here on The Point. After the break, we have big discussions, and this time around, trying to understand how the business community can easily get to put themselves into proper context and make good use of solar to at least save costs. Not only saving costs though, but at least try to take up, so that we can have a huge solar uptake in the country, and that is something very important. And our discussion will return immediately after the break. Stick around.